Most people picture longevity as something dramatic. A special diet, a rare gene, a supplement nobody else has heard of. But when researchers look closely at people who reach 100 with their minds and bodies still working, the surprises are often quieter than that. A lot of them show up at night. Not so much in what these people do before bed, but in what they don't do. The last hour before sleep tends to be calm, predictable, and almost boring. And that ordinary calm may matter more than any complicated morning routine. So tonight, forget the miracle cures. We're going to look at 12 things people who live past 100 tend to avoid before bed, and why you might want to stop too. Here's why this is worth your time. Sleep isn't just downtime. It's when your body does quiet maintenance work that's hard to do while you're awake. Your brain sorts through the day and files away memories. Tissues repair. Hormones reset. And there's growing interest in how the brain seems to clear out metabolic waste during deep sleep, though scientists are still working out exactly how that process behaves in humans. As we age, sleep naturally changes. It gets lighter. It breaks up more easily. Falling back asleep at 3 in the morning gets harder than it used to be. That's normal. But it also means the habits around bedtime carry more weight later in life, when sleep is already more fragile. Now, here's the honest part. We can't run a clean experiment where we make one group of people sleep badly for 50 years and see who lives longer. So most of what we know about sleep and aging comes from observational research. That means scientists watch large groups over time and look for patterns. Those patterns are real and useful, but they can't fully separate cause from coincidence. People with steady, restful nights often have other advantages too. Less stress, more stable routines, better health to begin with. So think of this less as a rulebook and more as a map of habits that keep showing up on the calmer side of aging. Number 1. They don't fall asleep staring at a bright screen. Picture the last hour of the night for a lot of long-lived people. The lights are low. The room is quiet. There's no phone glowing a few inches from their face. Part of that is simply generational, but it lines up with something sleep scientists have studied for years. Bright light in the evening, especially the blue heavy light that phones and tablets throw off, can delay the body's release of melatonin, the hormone that signals it's time to wind down. The screen also keeps your mind switched on right when it should be powering off. One more message, one more short video, one more thing to react to. None of this means a phone ruins your sleep every single time, but the effect is consistent enough that dimming the lights and setting the screen aside earlier is one of the easiest changes you can make, and it costs you nothing. Number 2. They don't sit down to a heavy meal right before lying down. In a lot of long-lived communities, the evening meal is smaller than the American default, and it happens earlier in the night, not right before bed. There's a practical reason this may help. When you lie down with a full stomach, digestion and gravity start working against each other. That can make heartburn and reflux more likely, and reflux is a common, underrated reason people wake up during the night without quite knowing why. A big, rich, late meal can also nudge your body temperature and blood sugar in ways that don't play nicely with settling down. This isn't about eating some magic dinner, it's about timing and size. Finishing a lighter meal a few hours before bed gives your body a chance to do the digesting while you're still upright, so it's not competing with sleep. Number 3. They don't lean on a nightcap to fall asleep. Alcohol has a sneaky reputation here, and it fools a lot of people. A drink or two can make you feel drowsy and help you doze off faster. So it seems like it's helping. But that's the first act of the story, not the whole thing. As your body processes the alcohol through the night, sleep tends to break apart in the second half. You spend less time in the deeper, more restorative stages, and you're more likely to wake up in the early morning hours and struggle to drift back off. For older adults, this matters even more because alcohol can interact with medications and can affect balance if you get up in the dark. None of this is a lecture about never drinking. It's just that using alcohol as a sleep aid usually backfires, quietly, in ways you don't connect to the drink the next day. Number 4. They don't drink caffeine late in the day. This one surprises people because it starts long before bedtime. Caffeine sticks around in your body far longer than most of us assume. Roughly half of it can still be in your system many hours after that afternoon cup. So a coffee at 4 in the afternoon might still be working against you when your head hits the pillow. It doesn't always keep you fully awake. Sometimes it just makes your sleep a little shallower and a little more broken without you realizing why. People who sleep well tend to front-load their caffeine, morning and early afternoon, and let it fade before evening. As we age, the way we handle caffeine can shift too, so the same cup that was fine at 40 may hit differently at 70. And it isn't only coffee. Strong tea, some sodas, chocolate, and even a few over-the-counter pills carry caffeine you might not be counting. So the picture is bigger than that one obvious mug. Paying attention to the timing and to all the small sources, not just the amount, is the quiet trick here. Number 5. They don't drink a lot of fluid right before bed. This sounds almost too small to matter, but for older adults, it's a big one. Waking up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night is one of the most common reasons sleep gets chopped up as people age. Each trip breaks the flow, and getting back to sleep can take a while. There's also a safety angle. Stumbling to the bathroom half asleep in a dark room raises the risk of a fall, and falls are one of the real threats to independence later in life. People who protect their sleep tend to do their drinking earlier in the evening and taper off before bed, so they're not setting an alarm clock in their own bladder. If you're waking up several times a night to go, and you're on medications or have other health issues, that's worth mentioning to a clinician rather than just accepting it. Number 6. They don't go to bed at wildly different times every night. Here's where regularity beats intensity. A lot of long-lived people keep an almost unremarkable schedule. Similar bedtime, similar wake time, day after day, weekends included. It's not glamorous. But your body runs on an internal clock, and that clock loves predictability. When you keep bed and wake times steady, your body starts preparing for sleep before you even lie down, releasing the right signals at the right time. When your schedule swings around, that timing gets muddled, and you can end up lying awake or dragging through the day. Researchers have started paying more attention to the regularity of sleep, not just the total hours. The pattern that keeps surfacing is that a boring, consistent rhythm tends to line up with better outcomes than a chaotic one, even when the chaotic sleeper technically logs the same number of hours. Think about the person who stays up late and sleeps in on weekends, then drags themselves back to an early alarm on Monday. That back and forth is a little like flying across time zones every week without leaving home. Your internal clock never quite settles, and your body spends part of each week playing catch-up. Long-lived people mostly skip that whiplash, not through discipline, but because their days simply don't swing that hard. Number 7. They don't keep the bedroom hot, bright, and stuffy. Think about the conditions your body actually wants for sleep. To fall asleep, your core temperature naturally needs to drop a little. A room that's too warm works against that, which is one reason a lot of people sleep worse on hot nights. Light is the other piece. Even modest light in the bedroom can interfere with the signals that tell your brain it's nighttime. People who sleep well tend to keep the room on the cooler side, dark and quiet, without necessarily thinking of it as a strategy. It's just how their space is set up. You don't need special equipment for this. Blocking out light, letting the room cool down, and cutting the low hum of electronics can do more for your sleep than most gadgets marketed for it. Sometimes the mix is turning things off, not buying something new. Number 8. They don't carry the whole day's stress into bed with them. This one's harder to measure, but it shows up again and again. Many long-lived people have some kind of wind down, a slow shift between the busy day and sleep. It might be reading, a bit of prayer or quiet reflection, a short walk after dinner, a calm conversation. Nothing fancy. The point is, they don't go straight from a stressful, wound-up state to lying in the dark expecting to drop off. When your mind is still racing and your body is still tense, sleep tends to stay just out of reach, and the frustration makes it worse. Building even 10 or 15 minutes of genuine calm before bed gives your nervous system a chance to shift gears. It's the difference between slamming on the brakes and easing to a stop. Number 9. They don't do something intense or stimulating right before lights out. There's a version of the evening where you're answering emails at 11, or watching something tense, or getting into a heated discussion, and then you wonder why you can't sleep. Long-lived people tend to keep the late evening low-key. That doesn't mean they never move. Movement during the day is one of the strongest patterns in healthy aging. It's more that the hard, activating stuff gets done earlier. Vigorous exercise, hard mental work, and emotionally charged activity all rev up your body and mind, and that revved-up state can take a while to come down. If your evening ends on a high-alert note, your body may still be running warm when you're trying to sleep. Winding down the intensity, not eliminating activity, is the pattern that shows up on the restful side of aging. Number 10. They don't fall asleep with the television running all night. It's a common habit. The TV goes on, you drift off, and it plays until morning. It feels harmless, even comforting. But that low light and shifting sound can keep pulling your brain toward lighter sleep without waking you fully. You get the hours in bed, but not the quality. A sudden loud commercial or a change in scene can nudge you out of deep sleep without you ever remembering it. People who sleep well more often let the room go genuinely quiet and dark. If total silence feels unsettling, a steady, unchanging background sound tends to be gentler on sleep than a program that keeps changing volume and grabbing your attention. The goal is an environment that stays the same all night, not one that keeps giving your brain new things to react to. Number 11. They don't take long or late naps that steal the night. Naps aren't the enemy. A short rest in the early afternoon is common in plenty of long-lived cultures, and it can be genuinely restful. The trouble comes with naps that run long or land late in the day. Sleep in the evening tends to pull sleep pressure out of the night, so you lie down at bedtime and your body just isn't tired yet. Then you're staring at the ceiling, which starts a frustrating cycle. The pattern among people who sleep well is usually a brief nap, earlier rather than later, if they nap at all. It tops off their energy without borrowing from the night. If you find yourself needing long daily naps to get through the day, that can sometimes be a sign that your nighttime sleep needs attention, which is worth looking into rather than just patching over. Number 12. They don't lie in bed for hours fighting to fall asleep. This one runs against instinct. When sleep won't come, the natural move is to stay in bed and try harder. But trying hard to sleep is one of the surest ways to stay awake. Your bed can start to feel like a place of frustration instead of rest, and your brain learns that association. Sleep specialists often suggest that if you've been lying there wide awake for a good while, it's better to get up, go somewhere dim and calm, do something quiet and unstimulating, and only return to bed when you actually feel sleepy. People who sleep well rarely turn the night into a battle. They don't watch the clock and count the hours they're losing. They keep a lighter relationship with sleep, trusting that it'll come, which paradoxically makes it easier for it to arrive. So step back and look at these together, and a picture starts to form. Almost none of it is exotic. There's no secret ingredient hiding in the list. What connects these habits is a kind of quiet consistency. The evening is protected. Light goes down. Stimulation goes down. The body gets clear, steady signals that the day is ending. Compare that to how a lot of us actually live, with bright screens, late meals, a drink to unwind, and a schedule that shifts all week. The contrast is striking, and it isn't about willpower. It's about a setup that makes good sleep the easy default instead of something you have to force. That may be the real lesson buried in all of this. Long-lived people don't seem to white-knuckle their way to good sleep. They build evenings where rest happens almost on its own, and then they let it. Regularity does more of the heavy lifting than any single trick. Now let's be straight about what the science can and can't tell us here, because that honesty matters. The link between sleep and healthy aging is one of the more solid patterns in this field. Poor, disrupted sleep over long stretches is associated with a range of problems, and consistent, sufficient sleep tends to travel with better health. That much shows up reliably. But most of this comes from observational research, the kind that finds relationships without proving that one thing caused the other. And there's a real puzzle inside that. Does bad sleep contribute to poor health? Or does poor health cause bad sleep? Or is it a loop that feeds both ways? The honest answer is probably some of each, and it's genuinely hard to untangle. There's another catch worth naming. When we study people who reached 100, we're looking at survivors. We're not seeing everyone who lived the same way and didn't make it. So we should be careful about pointing at any one habit and declaring it the reason for their long life. It might be part of the story. It might be a marker of a calmer, steadier life overall. There's also the plain fact that people differ. The amount of sleep that leaves one person sharp will leave another foggy, and a habit that helps most people may not fit everyone. So blanket rules tend to overpromise. What we can say is that these bedtime patterns are gentle, low cost, and low risk, and they line up with sleep science that stands on firmer ground. That's a reasonable bar to act on, even without airtight proof. You can try one, watch how you feel over a couple of weeks, and keep what actually helps you. Here's what a lot of people get wrong about all of this. The first mistake is chasing the perfect night. You don't need flawless sleep to age well, and stressing over every restless night can make things worse. The goal is a decent pattern over time, not perfection. The second mistake is reaching for a product before fixing the basics. People will buy sleep supplements and gadgets while still drinking coffee at dinner and scrolling in bed. The foundation usually matters more than the add-ons. A third mistake is treating any single change as the whole answer. Putting the phone away helps, but it won't fix a bedroom that's too hot, a schedule that swings around, or a mind that never gets a chance to settle. And one more. As people get older, they sometimes assume broken sleep is just their lot now. Nothing to be done. Some change is normal with age, but sleep that's badly disrupted or that leaves you exhausted every day isn't something you simply have to accept. It can point to something treatable, and it's worth raising with a clinician rather than writing off. Pull the camera back, and here's the bigger picture. Sleep isn't a standalone trick you bolt onto your life. It sits in the middle of everything else. It's tied to how you move during the day, how much natural light you get, how you eat, how you handle stress, and how connected you feel to other people. Long-lived people tend to have lives where all of those pieces support each other, and good sleep is often a result of that whole setup, not a habit they attack in isolation. That's actually good news. It means you don't have to get sleep perfectly right on its own. Walk more during the day, get outside in the morning light, keep steadier routines, and eat a little earlier, and your nights often improve without you targeting them directly. The evening habits on this list matter, but they work best as part of a life that's built, day by day, to make rest, movement, and calm feel normal rather than exceptional. So what's the takeaway you can actually hold on to? It isn't that people who live past 100 discovered some hidden bedtime formula. It's that many of them spent decades in evenings that were quiet, regular, and unhurried, without ever calling it a longevity plan. They protected the last hour of the day almost by accident, and their bodies got clear signals, night after night, that it was safe to rest. You don't need to copy all 12 of these at once, and you don't need to chase a perfect score. Pick one. Put the screen down earlier. Move dinner up an hour. Keep your bedtime steadier through the week. Small, boring changes, repeated, tend to matter more than dramatic ones you can't sustain. Living to 100 may be the headline, but sleeping well, staying steady, and waking up able to do what you love, that's the part worth protecting, at any age. If this helped you see sleep and longevity a little more clearly, you can like the video and subscribe to The 100-Year Life for more evidence-based stories about living longer, stronger, and better.